Hey guys, so today I'm gonna react to a cool new dinosaur slash science news. They found a new dinosaur species discovered deep in the Sahara Desert. So that's pretty cool. This one ABC News from about 2 days ago. So I'll check it out because I want to know.
Paleontologists have made a spine tingling find in the sands of the Sahara Desert. A new species of dinosaur. Now, they've unearthed fossils of a supersized carnivore
Look at that, pretty big.
that lived over 95 million years ago. The team now naming it Spinosaurus Mirabilis, Latin for astonishing. The discovery raising as many questions as answers
Spinosaurus is also pretty damn big. Let's keep that in mind.
about prehistoric life. And to answer some of those questions, I'm joined by Dr. Paul Sereno, paleontologist at the University of Chicago and a
I think I said this before, but my childhood dream career at one point was become a paleontologist. And nothing like that. Nowadays, I don't have a PhD. I do have a bachelor's criminal justice, master's in problem administration, and I've been working as basically as an like a external EO, so external EO investigator for my state department. So it's pretty cool. I really like my career, but that was something I wanted to do in the past. So I'm pretty enthusiastic about science in general. Whether it's dinosaur fossils, or talk about bacteria, or talk about our space, or new ways they can treat illnesses like cancer, or ways they can make women's life easier with PCOS or pregnancy. Those things always interest me.
National Geographic explorer, Dr. Sereno. It is a pleasure to have you. Okay, now you called this the expedition of the century. What made this find so special?
Well, it was an extraordinary expedition. Took a big chance to try and get into the heart of the Sahara by collecting together 20 young people that could take 3 months of their lives off and put together a big armed guard, sort of like our Wild West, and go into the middle of nowhere in the hopes of finding something. And we were guaranteed nothing, except that we'd been to the site, found a tooth and a couple of jaw fragments. And hours after we arrived,
Yeah, being a paleontologist does take a while. It's a lot of patience. They have to be very delicate with the cleaning. It's not the easiest job. You also tend to be in areas that are either very hot or very cold. So it kind of sucks. You either go to a desert and you find amazing fossils, or you go to Antarctica and middle of a snowstorm and hope you can find something. Because sometimes you can find things with fossilized skin easier when, like fossilized mammoths. There being ones that were they found fossilized of an entire baby's, pretty much entire baby's mammoth skeleton with still fossilized skin and what ate stuff like that. When it's really cold like that, you can really preserve things really well. So in the desert is interesting. Depending on conditions, the sediments sometimes things worked out and you can preserve too. But especially in the cold, and that can sometimes again fossilize skin and what they ate before can be easy to find and easy to depend how old it is might be to extract some DNA potentially.
we found that what you're looking at is the crest on the top of the skull of this Spinosaur. And we knew we had a Spinosaur. We didn't know if we'd find a lot more of it, but we did.
Wow,
And yeah, it was immediately apparent to us this was a new species because the crest is like nothing we've seen before on any predatory dinosaur.
so tell us more about this Spinosaur. I got to know, what exactly do we know right now?
Yeah, it's become
Very cool fossil though. Very cool.
through Jurassic Park. It's become the celebrated dinosaur because we don't have any in North America. But in other parts around the old Mediterranean Ocean, which we used to call it Tethys Ocean, these dinosaurs stalked, and now we're finding in the rivers inland stalked fish, and we were able to ferret out some of the great fish catching abilities of this animal by looking at its jaws. And it was we call it a hell heron because I think it was wading into the waters, scaring any kind of competitors away, and very much a display.
From what I read and watched about Spinosaurus, they that was mainly just fish, or like marine species in general. So they ate some, and those fish they ate was not small. Right, they'd be eating some pretty gnarly giant fish, like fishes that could be around the size of 6 to 8 feet. And because of their size and everything, they could pretty much handle eating those, even though it's to be some level of risk. And most of the predators would not bother them. But the diet was very specialized. Part of the reason why they would go extinct because a lot of them rely, especially some species, were specifically adaptable to river environment. So when the river dried up, they end up going extinct, unfortunately, for them because they were very specialized, a lot of Spinosaurus, and they were not very adaptable with the diet. With that size they also had, they had to have a very specific environment. This is where you see species like sharks that are much more adaptable. Yeah, most shark species went extinct, but the ones that survive is what you see today. At one point in time, we used to have way more diversity of shark species, but they used adapt enough to still be alive today. But all non-avian dinosaurs went extinct by pretty much 65 million years ago. Big reasons because of the asteroid extinction event. So you can argue because that really wiped them out. But there's some evidence that some of them were already going extinct prior to that. And that was kind of like the finalization of it. And birds, which are avian dinosaurs, took over. But anyway, in terms of Spinosaurus, it's just interesting seeing how the diet is heavily based on marine species, especially fish. And when those areas dried up, the rivers dried up, there was not enough areas to find food because of it. They went extinct, but also demonstrate they probably were strong swimmers potentially. Potentially, Spinosaurus may have been decently strong swimmers, maybe not amazing. There's evidence that T Rex, for instance, would swim also, so it's not impossible they couldn't also be swimming. So, but they probably rely maybe more low water river situations from at least some species for sure. So just interesting to read about them and how they evolve and their specialized diet.
Oriented animal, but capable of just snatching a lot of large fish out of the riverways and the coast.
Yeah, like what you're saying right now, they're able to say. I don't know for a fact if they were good swimmers, but it's possible their body is kind of similar to like an alligator's or crocodile's body, the way it's shaped. So it looked like it was designed to help them be able to swim a little bit easier, at least in not high water. That's why they probably like rivers a lot and adapt to that, and that probably helped them rather than like oceans where that would be too difficult to swim for a long period of time. So it's possible they were pretty decently strong swimmers, not as good as a crocodile from back in the day, but even today, obviously, and alligators, but still probably pretty decently, maybe decently strong swimmers. I'm not sure exactly. We don't know yet, but looks like they were. And that could be something they special adapt to. That's why when those environments went away, that would kill them off for sure.
The region. And it's like nothing we've ever seen before. It's the size of T Rex. It's 40 feet long.
Wow, it's huge. Now, this Spinosaur, it differs from some of the other ones you actually studied. So, what sets this one apart?
Yeah, I'll just say, this is what they share. They share this kind of tooth that is straight, curved, no serrations.
Could the tooth. Very interesting.
Looks very different than a T Rex tooth. The original clues to this site I dug out of the library. A French monograph, you see my middle markings there, gave us a sentence or two about a tooth they found in the center of the Sahara. But then we put together the pieces of the dinosaur. As I walk behind it, it gives you a better idea of the size of this animal. Its teeth interlock, the lower ones coming outside the upper ones to snare a slippery fish. If you ever try to catch a fish with your hands, you'll know what I'm talking about. This is a fishing adaptation only this dinosaur Spinosaurus has. But this is what defines the species, the very low snout. And
yeah, it's very, even the way they shape, it kind of looks, I might be wrong, but it kind of looks like a crocodile's or alligator's adaptation. So probably similar-ish adaptation they had to be able to have this type of diet for the Spinosaurus diet.
There's an incredible crest that extends into the air with a covering, and I'm going to give you just a shot of the covering that we've reconstructed for it. That's the crest right there. Wow. It would have a
pretty big
covering like a live animal in keratin that would extend it a little bit further. It's about 2 feet overall. And so that gives us a couple of clues about this dinosaur, one of which is that it's a land animal. It's inhabiting the margins of oceans, the margins of riverways. It is not a diving marine Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say it's like yeah, I agree to that. I don't think it would be like an actual, very strong swimmer. I'm just saying it could have been possible it was a decent swimmer when it needed to be. Maybe to do small, low water, to do a little bit quick swimming. Maybe it could have done that. But that's not that. I think the adaptation was more obviously for land than the ways to design the body, and definitely had enough time for a while to become this big. But it's just interesting.
As some have proposed, this is sort of the coup de grace for that idea. This animal I wouldn't want to be anywhere near if I was near the shore or on land. It could probably grab anything. It had unbelievable hands with claws, but it was primarily adapted in a way we've never seen for eating fish.
It's so interesting because the arms and hands and the claws that look to be pretty strong. So probably, as I was waiting to probably catch a fish and bit it, it was probably holding on to the fish. As an example, probably what it did. Probably on the river edge, maybe went a little bit deeper to grab some. Interesting.
And they were big fish. We are actually going to name a 12-foot superfish that we found not far from the dinosaur.
I mean, just
Okay.
as
Like 12 foot is a lot, guys. That's pretty damn big. So definitely was eating some really big ass fishes because it needed to be able to survive. To be 40 feet long, it had to be a lot.
see the teeth as big as your palm is just
Mhm.
startling to imagine
Yeah,
how
this is
big
small.
this dinosaur, yeah, how big this dinosaur really was. Now, do you think you'll find more dinosaurs in more remote regions, or do you think this is a
So this is the thing I like about the Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus really is interesting. I know I think it was Jurassic Park 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the one that had the exaggerated version of Spinosaurus. Would it kill the T-Rex and use the arm to break the neck? I think that was the third Jurassic Park film, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if it's not the third one. But obviously, the movies are more exaggerated for actiony and they roar things that are incorrect. But I think for sure the arms and hands, the forearms, by and tricep would be pretty strong for the Spinosaurus. It had to be able to hold down to those fishes, be able to break apart. We probably can do the cross to a certain extent, and be able to grab and hold. They probably need to be pretty strong. That's my thought. I think that's the evidence I've been finding, but I don't think it'd be a super strong swimmer. It was not a marine reptile species, or it was really more of a land-based one that may have been able to swim when needed, but probably in low water. I would expect at most.
one-off find?
Now, so for your listeners, I mean, first of all, we're in an age of discovery. We're naming more dinosaurs now than we've ever named before. So your kids and their kids, they're going to be in the heyday of dinosaur research. But not only can I tell you we're going to find more, we are going to name a lot more from that site. There are digging raptors you've never seen. There are crocodiles and all sorts of creatures that we have already found in the 50 tons we took from Africa on that legendary expedition. So there's a lot more coming. In fact, it really is a lost world we're going to describe. We've known about T-Rex, Triceratops, the duckbills for a century here in North America because we have excellent beds and because people have been going there for more than a century. We went to the center of the Sahara and found Africa's lost world. It is the last continent you're going to be able to describe immense creatures by the dozen to give us some idea of what was in it.
That's pretty cool. Africa definitely has some amazing dinosaurs like the Spinosaurus. It's just it's hard to have the budget, to be able to finance all these expeditions. Because remember, being a paleontologist, archaeologist, these type of jobs are really cool, but they're not money makers. Meaning they're not made to be for profit for like a corporation. So you're gonna have to have a either very enthusiastic wealth individual or very enthusiastic state or federal government agency department who's willing to spend the money just for pure knowledge, right? Either wealth individual that just wants to be getting more knowledge, or some type of local state, more like staying federal. Government is a department that has the money that want to obtain that knowledge and expand our knowledge about dinosaurs or about the conditions that were like back then, learning how climate change has changed over the centuries, millennia, 100,000 years, millions of years. Like those things are not necessarily always for profit. So paleontology is not a field that is gonna be really gonna be making money, so you can sell a service or product, some type of item, whatever the case may be. It's really for knowledge. So not everyone's into that because it's very much that specific type of thing.
Inhabiting that world.
Well, we cannot wait and see the discoveries you, your team, and other paleontologists around the world uncover for all of us.
Cool.
People have been going.
Honestly, this was